So in front of you, I have the numeration system set for Roman numeration system. And we're going to specifically look at first how the Roman numerals compare to the Hindu Arabic system, which is what we use. And first chart, we'll see that when it's a capital I, it's 1, V, it's 5, X, it's 10, L, it's 50, C is 100, D is 500, and M is 1000. Now, before we get to the other part, I want to show you this piece down here is that the bar placed above any of the symbols multiplies it by 1000. So if we have this V, which represents 5, with a bar over it, it's 5 times 1000 or 5000. Similarly, we have this CDX. Now, we'll talk about this a little bit more, what CDX is, but notice that it does end up being 410. We'll talk about why in a little bit. And then it's 1000, so we get 4000 for 110,000. Now, with the Roman numerals, because they try to be as efficient or concise as possible, when they put a smaller valued character, like an I, in front of a V, we subtract that amount. So I, that's 1, V is 5, the I comes before the V, so that's going to be 5 minus 1 or 4. We can do that with 9. We can do that for X before L is 10 before 50, so we get 50 minus 10 is 40. And X before C is 10 less than C, so 100 minus 10 is 90. Now, when we look back down to what we have here, now C is 100 and D is 400. Notice the bar is over all of it. So we want to discover what CDX means before we multiply it by 1000. So the C is smaller in value because it's 100 before the D, which is 500. So it would be 500 minus 100. So that would be 400. And then the X comes after. So it's 410. And that is why multiplied by 1000, we get 410,000. So with the Roman numeral rules, number 1, a letter repeats its value that many times. So XXX is 10, 10, 10, 10 times 10, 10 plus 10 plus 10 is 30. CC is 200. And they will always be listed from biggest to smallest unless you're supposed to subtract from left to right. So a letter can only be repeated 3 times. And then we have to go back to the notation and subtract something smaller. Number 2, if one or more letters are placed after another letter of greater value, we add that amount. Number 3, if a letter is placed before another letter of greater value, you subtract that amount. And 4, a bar placed on the top of a letter or string of letters increases the number's value by 10 or 1000 times. So let's look at a few examples of what we would do. So we want to use the Roman numerals to represent 15,475. So I know I have to take care of this 15,000 first. And so X is 10 and V is 5. So XV, which is 15 with a bar over it, will be 15 times 1,000 or 15,000. Okay, that's how I would represent the large number of 15,000, but what about the 478? Well, I can't do 4 C's because we're not supposed to put 4 of the same letter in a row. So I will use the 500 minus 100, which is represented by C before D. That is the 500 minus 100 because C has a smaller value than D. And that will give us the 400. All right, now it's 78. So with 78, what we'll do is we will do 500 plus 2 more hundred, or let me back that up, sorry. A little slower here. 78. So for 78, we will do our 50, which is an L, plus 10, which is 60, plus 10, which is 70, and then 8. 5, so 75, 6, 7, 8. And that will give us our 78. We have to put it all together. So the Roman numeral representation of 15,478 is 15,478. All right, so let's take a look at going the opposite direction and knowing how to write the value of this Roman numeral. So with CD, okay, that's going to be 400 because C is 100, D is 500, C comes before D, so that's 400 times 1,000. So that's CD equals 400,000. M is 1,000. CCC is 300. And then LIX, the L is 50, I is 1, I comes before X, that's 9. So this would be 59. So to write it out, this would be 401,359. Those two number examples were a little bit bigger examples. So let's take a look at just a few smaller practice cases. Say that we want to do something like 47. Well, I can't do x, 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 x because we're not supposed to put the same letter next to itself 4 times. So I know that L is equal to 50, and I know that x is equal to 10. So I will write this as 10 before 50, and then for the 7, V1, 1, 7, and that would be 47. I put the D instead of the L. So 1,257. 1,257. Let's practice writing some other values. Take your time and let's do V, the bar over it, X before L, V, I. All right, so the V means 5, but with the bar over it means 5,000. We have X and an L. Now the L is 50, but the X is 10. So X before L gives us 40. So 5,000, 40, and then VII is 8. 5,048. And let's try one more number. Let's do this one. 4,449. 4,449. Well, to do the 4,000, to make a 4, we have to go a 1 for a V. And then we put a line over it. That's 4,000. For 400, we have to put a C before the D. That's 100 before 500. For the 40, we have to do an X before the L. That would be 40. That's 10 before 50. So that's 40. And for the 9, we have to put the I for the X. 1 before 10 is 9. And this is how you would write 4,449. Let me know if you need additional examples.